What's good, y'all? It's that boy, Easy Millions, and I'm your host of that boy, ETV. You already know, man, we are back on Black Ops 6, and today, man, I wanted to come on here and just talk about a tweet that's been going crazy in the community. And in case you haven't seen it, it does come from Hope, or the Ghost of Hope, and it goes, exclusive details for Modern Warfare 4 for 2026. First thing on there is no old gen support, traditional UI like older games, more traditional than the one we currently have in BO6, engine being overhauled to address Modern Warfare 2 problems like visual clutter, etc., being developed on dev kits for the next Xbox, and no Warzone 3 if Verdansk fails to retain current/returning players, man. So there's the big tweet that has been going around in the community and been causing quite a stir. So there's things on this tweet that I do want to address. And the first one here is the fact that, man, only in March and we're already getting news for COD 2026. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm very aware that they do work on these games, a year in advance, most likely, probably years in advance, to be honest, which is kind of crazy because most of the time it doesn't seem like from game to game that we get much new stuff. And a lot of the stuff that they bring back are things that are already in the game. Like, again, I'm tired of gun game being, an update, new mode for an update. Like, they be like, oh, for this update, we're giving you gun game. Like, gun games should just be in the game already. Like, I don't understand. So, again, it's just crazy. We're getting 2026 COD news. But, hey, I'm not surprised. Now, the first thing on here that actually stood out to me was the fact that it's going to have no old gen support. Now, I haven't really talked about this on any of my commentaries yet, but I think that this here, no old gen support, is hurting the game. If I'm not mistaken, I got my Xbox in, what was that, 2021, 2020, somewhere around there. And when I got, I think it was 2020. So when I got the Xbox, right, it's been about 5 years since I've had this. During that 5 years, every time a game comes out, we're still putting out the game for the older generation of consoles. Maybe I'm confused, but I've been around a long time. I don't think I've ever seen developers continue to make games for the older console 5 years down the line. Now, I do understand that it would have been a little bit longer because a lot of people were out of work and money was hurting during COVID and all that. So I get why it was extended, why they keep making games extended. But we're 5 years in, I believe, on these systems, and we're still getting old gen games. And then you have to think about it like this. If they are putting in effort to create old gen games, that's taking away from everything they can honestly do to the game for the current gen and how far you can actually push it, because they're going to have to tone it down so that it works on the older gen consoles. So if that's the case, I am glad that finally we're going to have our first Call of Duty that isn't with the old generation of consoles. So maybe this 2026 COD might be extremely different just based off of that alone, because now it seems they're able to put all their resources into current gen, and they're no longer splitting their time and resources on both old and current, in which my opinion takes away from the overall quality of the game, because you have to tone down the game in order to remain on, the older generation of consoles. So I think that no old gen support is actually going to be a very good thing. They also list here that they're going back to the traditional UI, more traditional than what we have now. The user interface, there's nothing wrong with going back to a normal interface or the more traditional one, especially with the mini maps and all that. I know that at one point Call of Duty was drunk and taking away our mini maps because, bad players are just bad, but apparently, you got to take away things that make good players good. Being able to read the mini map mid-game as you're moving, reading it and understanding what's going on, that's a skill in the game. That's a skill in the game that I think needs to remain. You should be able to read that map. If you're a bad player and you can't quickly look up in your map or understand how to read it and where people are at, that's on you as a player. That's not really something that I think that they should try to fix. So a more traditional UI, in my opinion, is always warranted. And, I think the community will just be happy about that. Now, they're saying the engine's being overhauled to address problems like visual clutter and etc. like that. So that's also good to hear. I'm glad that, you know, they're doing an overhaul. And I guess, again, I think this overhaul is due to the fact that they aren't doing old gen support anymore with this Call of Duty. So again, all the time and resources will be spent on current gen, and hopefully that means we get a little bit more from Call of Duty now that it is currently, you know, strictly on the better console, the stronger console. Because again, I still think that just splitting between old consoles and current consoles when it comes to making your games just kind of lessens the game overall quality, in my opinion. So I think that that is a very, very good thing. Also, they're saying they're developing dev kits for the next Xbox. Now, I don't know if that means the Xbox after the Series X, because again, the Series X only been out for about 5 years or so. So and you got to think about it, during the 5-year span, it's still competing with older generations as far as like games and stuff go, because they're making both. So I'm not sure how much longer this Xbox will be out, but for them to say they're developing dev kits for the next Xbox, maybe they know something we don't. I do know that Activision is owned by Microsoft at this point, so maybe they do know something that we don't know, or maybe they're just in general just overhauling because they are owned by Microsoft, so they're just putting in new dev kits to make it perform better on Xbox. I'm assuming maybe that's what that is. But, you know, I'm not really sure about this one. This is the only bullet point here that I wasn't really 100% sure about or what they're meaning. So, again, we'll just have to see. But overall, I just feel like they are 100% getting rid of the old gen. And I just can't wait to see what an actual COD game that's 100% meant to be on the current gen or even the next one could look like, man. Hopefully they add some stuff, you know, better graphics. You know, they need to just get more people in there to design shit like maps and all that other stuff, man. So that's just is what it is. Now, we got to get to the biggest bullet point on this tweet, and it's the one that really has the community somewhat up in the world, man. And it's the fact that they say there will be no Warzone 3 if Verdansk fails to retain current/returning players, man. Now, the first thing is Call of Duty right now has been losing a lot of players. I'm not surprised. You have other games like Marvel Rivals taking over. And then on top of that, like a couple videos ago, I said 2019 was the beginning of the downfall, and I truly believe that. In 2019 is when you had that new Modern Warfare come out, where they started, you know, they're taking things away like the mini map, you know, encouraging camping. This is around the time that Warzone first started. And this is when Warzone went, what happened? When Warzone became a thing, multiplayer started suffering from that, because now they focus more on Warzone shit than they do multiplayer, right? So coming up here soon, Verdansk is actually supposed to come back, and they're hoping and praying that nostalgia brings back all these players. My personal opinion, I do think it'll bring back some players, but I think it won't retain them. And the reason why I don't think it'll retain anybody is because bringing in a map doesn't stop the other factors that stop players from playing. It's not the map on Warzone why people aren't playing. That's not the reason. You know, there's cheaters. There's all kind of craziness going on in the game outside of, oh, you know, it's just the map. The reason why we're not trying to be on the game is just the map. Like, no, like that's not the reasoning. You know what I'm saying? Again, you're going to drop it. Nostalgia will kick in. And you probably will see an increase of players, but I feel like that increase of players is going to drop off extremely fast once it wears off. They're going to be on Verdansk, and it's not going to be the same to them. They're going to see Verdansk, have a thing in their head about when they played Verdansk last, and think it's going to be like that when it won't. Now, also, too, don't get me wrong, I am not truly a Warzone fan. I have actually been an advocate against Warzone for the most part because of how badly it has destroyed the way the devs look in multiplayer. Not only that, I just don't think that it's the better choice for battle royales. I think you do have Fortnite. Apex, in my opinion, is just a way better battle royale than this is. But this is one of the few that allow you to play four people in a squad. So even though I'm not the biggest fan of Warzone, I do understand that there are people that love it. It does have a place because, again, it's one of the few that allow you to play 4 players when you are playing a battle royale, unlike Apex. I don't necessarily want the game to go anywhere, even though I don't care for it. I still don't want to see it go anywhere. I still don't like the fact that when games go somewhere or die, you always have certain people that get online and basically champion the fact that the game fell off, right? It's crazy. And I don't see that. I don't want that to really happen with Warzone. But again, I'm really feeling like they're not going to see the retention that they're hoping for. So hopefully Warzone, man, I think it might be near the end. And even though I'm not the biggest fan of it, I hope that it truly doesn't go anywhere, because we just need more and more games out there for us to play, man. But how do y'all feel about this tweet, man, and all these topics up here? Let me know down in the comments, man. Like, E, man, once again, you're in front of this mic, man, and you're looking at something and you just don't know what the hell you're talking about. Or E, I saw that tweet and I agree with you, brother. And also, let me know any sentiments y'all might also have in regards to this as well down in them comments, man. But I'm going to leave y'all off with the rest of this gameplay here in the background, and hope y'all enjoy that, man. But as always, please like, comment, subscribe, follow, share, become a supporter, and catch me streaming on Facebook Gaming and Twitch at that boy ETV. Now, catch you on the next one. I'm out. Peace.
Nope. And then look, this thing in the doorway. Nope. Got him. Nothing but turtles. Yeah, boy. Oh, and it's all 3 different ones.